A yellow booger?
I'm a banana slug, Steven.
What are you doing in my room?
I'm your sense of adventure. It's been a long time since we've had an adventure in the forest.
Mom took me to the forest last year.
I'm a slug, Steven. It took me a long time to get here.
You're right. I should get out.
Yeah, the forest is not that far away.
Hey, Mom!
Come to the forest where the more adventurous you live. Check out discovertheforest.org for cool places nearby. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
Sure, humans can be a little weird at times, but take it from me, I'm a dog. And a person is about the best thing that can happen to a shelter pet. So if you want to learn how you can be that person, get down to your local pet shelter or visit theshelterpetproject.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council.
In the red zone.
Conway Twitty, Sports Jock Show with Wayne Gandy with Richard Sherman. What makes this defense and the team from whistle to whistle so tough? What makes you guys so mentally tough?
I think it's a combination of things. I can't give you just one thing that makes us tough. I think we have a tough offense, a tough offensive line, a gritty mindset on offense. We got what a lot of people call no-name receivers, but they make big plays. I think you create your name in this league, and that's what they're doing for themselves. And I think on defense, we have a great D-line who stuffs the run. They play very aggressive. Our linebackers play very aggressive, and us in the back end, we try to limit the explosives in the pass game.
Welcome back to the Sports Jock Show. I'm the Sports Jock Wayne Gandy. Super Bowl 48 last night. The Seattle Seahawks, a city that's known for coffee and rain and suicide, is now holding up the Lombardi Trophy. Great win, great display of defense. Very rare will you get the number one offensive team to battle the number one defensive team in a Super Bowl. This game, as Richard Sherman said, a bunch of no-name receivers who made some names for themselves last night showed up for Seattle, but nothing showed up more than this defense that smothered, and I do mean smothered, everything that Peyton Manning tried to throw at it. I didn't get a chance to look at the statistics, but if they ran for 30 yards before that last drive, I would be surprised. No, Sean Marino and Ball did nothing on the ground. Peyton Manning completed a lot of passes, but if you watch the game, it was a bunch of little 3- and 5-yard passes, nothing that ever really threatened the Seahawks. Seahawks playing ferocious man-to-man defense for most of the game, single high safety, and really challenging these receivers at the line, not just letting them run by. And they really exposed one thing that I had always saw about the Denver offense, Valentina and bad producer, and that is that the Denver receivers and the Denver offense as a whole, even though they're number one, they're not that fast. They're not a fast. Did either one of you recognize, like,
I did.
Nobody runs by you on this Denver defense?
I had said that last night actually watching the game. It just, even in the running offense, it was just like I felt like something was like holding them down in the grass. I'm like, what's going on? Why are they running so slow?
Right. But when you watch the bad producer, the receivers, Wes Walker and them, even when they catch the ball, they were barely in front of the cornerback.
Yeah.
They couldn't really get anything deep.
Yeah, a lot of the things was thrown out in the flats. Peyton, everything's in the flats, and Seattle prepared for that. They was just like, you catch it in the flats, we're gonna put the LOB on you, Legion of Boom, and they were hitting them, and it was unbelievable. Demaryius Thomas, when he took the first hit of the game, his first catch, I knew Denver was in trouble.
And this is why all season in the last 2 years I've been advocating. I understand the need for a little change in the rules of hitting for the concussion, but this is the part of the game they displayed to America. Hitting is a factor. The physical play in a football game can nullify other parts. And you really saw when Denver receivers would catch the ball, the Seahawks secondary and linebackers and even the D-line on the screen passes were running out there and blasting these guys. And by the second quarter, when they would catch the ball, you're wondering, Valentino, why they were running so slow? They would catch the ball, and the first thing they would do is look for somebody to make sure they don't get hit, and then they would run. And that's the part of the game that I was telling my friends last night, and Bad Producer was there with me, and I told them that you can measure a person's speed. You can measure a person's height. You can how far they can jump and how quick they can run the shuttle. You cannot measure hitting. Hitting only can be measured once the ball is snapped. And you saw an example that Denver didn't want to get hit. Their receivers really were timid. They were too cautious. And when you're hitting people like that, that's what a lot of teams, the physical play. Now, you can do that on offense, which if you have a strong running game, you can be very dominant where I went to the sideline a lot of games like, Coach, you know what? They don't want it, meaning they don't want us to keep pushing on them. And it's week to week because it's a mentality. This is how the Seattle defense is ran. This is just like Richard Sherman said in that audio, that they play ferociously and physical, and nothing more was, no Sean Marino got hit in the back. He on the sideline. Peyton Manning, every time somebody hit his arm, he went to having that Eli face, like I like to call it. But it was just a great game to watch from a defensive standpoint. And at the end of the game, the MVP, Malcolm Smith, got to the podium. Even though he got interrupted. You said, the video audio.
We got the audio of him getting interrupted.
Well, first of all, let me go back to this. Let's show our man Broadway Joe. This is how the game started with my man, the New York Jet, Alabama Crimson Tide great. This is priceless right here. Broadway Joe starting off the game. Joe Namath, who's probably done every drug that they ever made. Fresh new. What do you find that kind of mink coat right there?
It's a chinchilla.
Oh, it's chinchilla. Excuse me.
Chinchilla.
Because it kind of got a little hood to it, don't it?
Yeah.
Actually.
It has a hood. But he had the same jacket on in the commercial early before the game started. He was on top of the roof, even with the two ladies.
Right. And for you that don't know, Hall of Fame, Broadway Joe predicted his Super Bowl win. What was that? Super Bowl II he won?
Super Bowl III.
III he won. So that would have been
over the Baltimore Colts.
68, 69.
Yes, sir.
Super Bowl III, Broadway, who's always been outspoken and never turned down any Jack Daniels at the game for the coin toss, which was priceless.
I think he on that Ciroc.
He on something.
It was priceless because he flipped the coin before anybody called heads or tails. He just flipped the coin and then he had to do it again, but that was priceless.
Joe was happy to be back. He was happy to be back in front of the TV camera. Since the kissing debacle, they hadn't let him back out. They let him out of the cage because he was in New York.
And then the next thing after that was the safety, which is the fastest scoring play that's ever happened in the Super Bowl. It happened 12 seconds, 2 points. A gentleman won money quickly because, in the Super Bowl, you can bet on anything. He bet $2,000 that there would be a safety. It was a straight bet of $2,000. He won $8,500 that quick in 12 seconds.
Wow.
I think the only person that makes that kind of money that quick is Bill Gates. When you can make $8,500 in 12 seconds off a bet. And always remember that. You can bet everything. You can bet who wins the coin toss. You can bet who makes the first catch. That's the beauty of the Super Bowl as far as Vegas is concerned.
I never knew that.
Oh, no, you didn't?
Oh, yeah.
I didn't know that.
Oh,
I
yeah.
only vote on who won.
No, you can. Every aspect you can. But Malcolm Smith went up to the podium, the linebacker for the Seahawks, the MVP. He was interrupted. Let me see the audio of Malcolm Smith.
To investigate 9/11. 9/11 was perpetrated by people within our own government. Place, but you never think about being MVP. To investigate 9/11, 9/11 was perpetrated by people within our own government.
Now, for you people that are not don't have the video of this, Malcolm is sitting there, he's answering questions. A gentleman just comes from his right, grabs the mic, which is funny because you got all the security in the world at this game. So how this guy got credentials, I know they gave out like 3,000 press credentials to the game. He grabs the microphone. I'm very shocked that he could get that close. Investigate 9/11. It was perpetuated by his own people. Is that what he said?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Then he walks off the stage. Nobody's hit him yet. I'm surprised that they didn't tackle him. People take the oddest times to want to make their statement.
And that wasn't even security who pulled him off the stage. That was one of the Seahawks.
Hey, well,
probably the media guy for the Seahawks.
The media guy. But Malcolm Smith did say, hey, check. After that, he said, hey, y'all need to check his press credential. But that sort of reminded me of the time when President Bush, when they threw the shoe at him, when the guy threw the shoe at him.
When he was at the podium.
Good, too. He dodged that shoe good.
That was a classic moment right there.
Well, quickly before we go to break, and when we come back from break, we're going to talk about the commercials and some of the political stuff that happened during the Super Bowl. Like, when were you thinking about doing this in your apartment? Like, because you had to formulate a plan that, after the game, when somebody go to speak, I'm going to run up to the podium and I'm going to say this. Like, is this a bet or a dare, or you just... Is it neither one?
Was he mad because Peyton didn't get the MVP?
So basically, our collective minds aren't warped enough to figure out why this guy ran up there.
We need satellite number 3 with the conspiracy.
Yeah, we need Marky for her conspiracy theories on this. We'll be back with more of the Sports Shock Show right after this. We're going to talk about the Super Bowl commercials and much more involving Super Bowl 48.
Go away. More of the Sports Jock Show with Wayne Gandy is coming up next.
Ice cold brew. Ooh, that was a heck of a sack. Chicken wings? Ice cold brews? Bob, he might want to hit the showers and head to Hooters.
Hooters is your one-stop shop for food, fun, and fantasy football.
Get your very own fantasy football draft kit and keep up-to-the-minute stats with Hooters' totally free Wi-Fi.
Great food, great fun, and your very own cheerleaders, the world-famous Hooters girls.
Hooters!
Visit HootersDraftParty.com to book your party.
Go Caleb! Come on, hit a homer, Jesse!
Let's go, guys!
Hey, did you guys know